You are listening to Shaoni, Born from the Light, by Iowan, read by Kevin M. Connolly. Chapter 38, The Blood Cell Conscience. Whenever people get the chance to work together on some project, creating something bigger, something important, they feel that life makes sense somehow. It is almost as if they need to create in order to give meaning to their lives. Imagine the day when man comes to realize that he is taking part in some enormous creation process, comes to realize the wonder he is really taking part in. I am, cried the red blood cell. At the same time, a boy looked up in surprise. Had he just heard a little voice yell? He would have sworn that he did. The words, I am, still resonated in his mind, but when he looked around, there was nobody to be seen. He tried to recall the voice in his mind. It sounded faint, almost inaudible, yet the boy was sure he had heard it. It wasn't just something he had imagined. He looked around. No one to be seen. Where then did it come from? Of course the boy didn't see anybody, as the voice had come from somewhere within himself. No, not as an inner voice or his conscience or something, but really from within. Somewhere within his physical body, that is. Shaoni looked up at the wizard. Of all the weird stories he had heard so far, he thought, but the wizard just went on. The blood cell didn't know about any boy. It only knew about itself and the world it saw around. A world made up, mainly of other red blood cells, it said. Red blood cells just like him. Billions and billions of other blood cells. All of them separate identities, all having a core body, a center, and outer limits defining where they ended and the other began. Each of them a living complex structure, too. Billions on billions of these complex structures they were. A most wondrous thing it was. And on top of it all, they all knew what to do. Yes, by some magical twist of power, the blood cells all knew what they had to do. And what a job they did. A most incredible taxi service they ran, delivering oxygen straight from the lungs to any of the body tissues in need. A non-stop service, working day and night, never taking a day off. They allowed the boy to function. No, more than that. They allowed the boy to live. Yes, indeed, you could say the blood cells were special. Yet did they even know? Did they realize how important they were? Come to think of it, did any of them even know about the boy? The boy didn't know much about the blood cells either. To him, they were just things he had learned about in school. Tiny little things somewhere within him. Nothing more, nothing less. Little did he realize the blood cells were alive. Just as alive as he was, even. Maybe feeling just as independent, too. Little did he know how incredibly complex these tiny little things were. No, the boy only cared about the world he saw and experienced around him. A world made up by himself, and lots of people like him. Billions and billions of them there were, all of them separate identities, all having a body, a mind, and something called a skin, defining where they ended and where the world around began. Each of them a living complex structure, too. Billions of complex structures. A most wondrous thing it was. And on top of it all, They all knew what to do. Yes, by some magical twist of power, the humans all knew what to do. Thus were the laws of creation. Yet none of the humans ever wondered how such a thing was possible. Then again, did the humans really know? I mean really, really know?
Why do I have the feeling as if I heard this all before? Shawnee wondered. But once again, the wizard just continued.
Beneath the boy was a planet, believe it or not, that had gained conscious millions of years before. A planet, itself a living organism, some said. A planet, constantly breathing life, growing from its womb the most incredible variety of life forms, each of them in the millions, billions even. Some said its name was Gaia. A planet turning around a star, a most complex structure. Billions of them there were, a most wondrous thing.
There we go again,
Shawnee thought, but wisely remained silent. And yet Gaia knew it was in turn only a tiny little particle of dust turning around a star, which in turn there were billions and billions of, all of which in turn were breathing life, breathing consciousness too, an enormous force, a force so big, so formidable, even Gaia couldn't imagine. Suddenly, Gaia heard a voice, a very faint voice, the voice of a boy. "I am, said the boy. Gaia understood what it was, though. I am, the boy cried out into the world, a world he knew he was a part of. He, a boy, a living complex part, within yet another living complex part. The boy suddenly realized he was taking part in something enormous, something wonderful, something beyond what words could ever describe. Shawnee looked at the wizard. He knew by now that the stories of the wizard didn't handle with the physical world. He knew Aniola was talking about the energies, the hidden energies. His mind floated off as he recalled what he had felt the last time he had been in the world of the thousand lights. Weren't these beings all working together at something bigger too? And hadn't they told him that he was one of them? Working together with them even? "I am," said Shawnee with a quiet voice. "I am." And as he did, he felt a profound joy falling over him. Imagine the day when man comes to realize this beauty, comes to realize the wonder he is really part of. He, a man, only just a blood cell, yet something so much bigger, so much more beautiful and powerful too. Later that evening, the wizard came up to the boy and said, "Tonight, my boy, just before falling asleep, go to your center and then ask your spiritual guide to come over and assist you in building a bridge for you to cross whenever you feel the need. A bridge to bring you to the point where you realize that all is in fact one. As soon as you have asked for your guide's assistance, start building that bridge. Visualize it in front of you. Visualize yourself building this bridge. See what wonders it will lead you to. When you feel you are done for today, thank your guide for his help. Then promise yourself that you will come back soon to build further, until the bridge is finished." Shawnee thought this was a great idea. "That I will do," he said.